Home Vlog, January 26, 2022. Can't remember what day. It's like 1 in the afternoon. I can't remember what time of day. So I switched work. Switched jobs today. Like all of a sudden, I'm working on a website. I was working on Google Earth for a long time. And the last few days I've been thinking about how I really need to attach the links of all of the Google Earth stuff that I've built. Google Earth stuff. I have lost Google Earth stuff, and if I had have attached it sooner, I could have saved it. So this actually could, in some way, it helps for security as well. Have it download. I have it backed up on different hard drives. Right now, 2 external hard drives on my computer, but it's like that's not enough, I need to upload it to the internet and then put the links on it and everything. So that's like its own little project. Took like a week or two just on that, but that's actually not the reason why I stopped working on Google Earth. Google Earth stuff I was working on was I was just bouncing on lots of different things. I was back on Rome, and my God, I had this huge adventure with Google Earth. I did most of or half of a lot of the Caesar's Gallic Wars, including Battle of Avaricum. That's not even uploading yet. I got started on a new section of Rome, where now I'm going pre-Rome, pre-founding of Rome, into the Iron Ages and Copper Age, Bronze Age, Stone Age, all in Rome. It's going to be cool. I bought a book. I blew $80 on a book about archaeology, and it's like, but then before I got going on that, I did get going on that, but before I got going on, and I also did all the rivers and roads there in Polyglon. And then, but before I got too far out now, I was working on Rome again, the city of Rome, and then I got going on the walls, like Servian Wall and Capitoline Hill, and then all these other Roman things, like the map of Rome, the naval disaster. Wasn't there something in between? Yeah. And stuff, and Then the last thing I was doing was Hadrian's Wall. Man, just making really good progress. I can't lose this stuff. Oh my God. Yeah, definitely. Now I'm like, I gotta upload this stuff. Gotta upload it for security reasons. Yeah, for security reasons. But anyway, that's not the reason. All of a sudden, because the work that I'm doing, it's really tedious and boring. And I've been working on Google Earth for a long time. And I mean, you can keep your brain stimulated by listening to audiobooks while you're working, but it's hard to focus really well on the audiobooks when I'm working on Google Earth, because even if I'm doing something simple like Google Earth, and even if it's super simple cut and paste jobs on the website, if you concentrate, or if I concentrate too much on the audiobook, if I get really into it, before long, always happens, I make huge mistakes with the work I'm doing. Because you need to lend a certain percentage of your memory, of your attention to the work that you're doing on their website, or else you'll start going off. If you're tracing a road on Google Earth, you'll all of a sudden you'll the thing you're tracing will end, but you'll just keep tracing down a road, and you won't even know why. And and I can go on like that for an hour because I can get into a trance. And then all of a sudden you have to back up, and if you're tracing, that's ruined because you can't just unclick. And Same thing with like cutting and pasting. You know, you could overcut and paste stuff and stuff you didn't need to and that kind of stuff. So it's not totally conducive to learning, not nearly as much as like riding a bike, you know, or swimming or running. Like endurance sports is perfect for that. But so a lot of time you have to find out like the perfect balance of how much attention you're going to give to what you're listening to. And a lot of times it can only be just like as music, background music, because you're concentrating on something. But so you know that can contribute it to getting a little bit tedious and boring after a while if you like want to stimulate your brain. But so maybe that's what it was. But I just had like this strong, overwhelming desire. I just came over that I had to do this other thing on my website, which was because I just kept thinking about it, until I was like, all right, fuck it, I have to do it now. This is just way too freaking interesting, dude. Like I have to. So it's an appendage on my website. I mean, on my timeline. Generations. I want to create generations. I have to. Because I was thinking about the Strauss-Howe generational theory. They wrote a book, The Fourth Turning, and before that, Generations. I did Audible with Fourth Turning last month. Next month, on the 17th, I'm gonna get Generations. Because this last month I got the second Raw book, which was good, but now I used up my credit on Audible, and I'm like even tempted to just buy more credits just so I can get it to it. But Generations, and they're talking about the and you know the Neil Howe still gets interviewed on internet, YouTube, and I think he's getting even more popular, even though he came out with the book like in the early '80s or something. But these guys, they create, and there's other people who do it too. So I'll do it with them because they're the main ones. They're the most intricate, where they go the farthest back. But I want to plug in other ones into it too for my timeline, like plug them all in, but in my world page. But they made Generations that go all the way back to 1400 and like 67 or something. Yeah, 2 generations in the 1400s and all the way up to the present day. And last night I was working on Hadrian's Wall, and you know I was building up stuff, and I got to the mile castles, and I was tracing mile castles and tracing turrets at their spots and adjusting the location of the wall. And then I found a mile castle that was the most developed, 48. And I said, okay, well, you have to make a really detailed mile castle. So I was just making it like utmost detail. Somebody did a YouTube video of it, and it's like the only one that's totally like the whole foundation is preserved. So I'd try to use that as the template for the other ones and build all the mile castles like with total accuracy, total detail, like how I'm doing Rome, because there's only 80 of them, and it's worth it. And help you figure it out. So I just wanted to figure out how I wanted to even organize everything on it, like the beds too. So I put beds on there, placed them, and it was cool. And I was just about to build it. I even the stairs. They even put in how many stairs there were. I don't think the stairs are preserved, but they know how many. So I was traced those, and I was just doing it. And I was like. I just couldn't think about it. All I could think about was doing the Generations. So I built that. Oh man, I was going somewhere with this anyway. So that's kind of how I ended last night. I just like got onto the Wikipedia and I just started putting them on my website on the horizontal part of my timeline, starting from present and then going back. And so I have them on side of the, I have them in, because the way that my timeline works, have different pages for different sections of the world. They're called UN regions, so like North Europe, Western Europe, North America, and stuff. So whatever region of the world is dominant in that 500-year period is where I'll put my generational map chart. And then I'll put it inside of the epoch. So like, you know, you have like Middle Ages, Dark Ages and stuff, and Classical period. Inside of there is where I put the Saeculae, like the different human lifespan periods. It's an idea that came from the Etruscans. I heard it from Neil Howe talking about it, like the way the Etruscans would conceptualize time. Like the Romans would conceptualize time based on who was the consul that year, but the Etruscans would do it like they'd have like human lifespans. So like whenever the city was founded, that's year one of their calendar, and every like independent city or country would have their own calendar back in the day, and so like that would be like year one of their calendar, and then they would take account of all the people who died, who were born in the year of the founding of the city, the same age as the city, and the person who lived the longest out of the people born that year, whenever they die, that's the end of the first saeculum, like the first unit of history. Like because it's like the longest time span, and then they look at who was born that year that person died, and the person who lives the longest from whoever born that year, when they die, that's the end of their saeculum. So I think it was Varro who was talking about that. I need to go and read up on it, exactly what he said. But and so the Romans kind of adopted that too. And then the prophecy with the Etruscans was a civilization, like an independent civilization is destined by the fates to last 10 years, 10 saecula, 10 human lifespans, like 1,000 years. So, and their idea of a saeculum was different depending on who we were talking to, like 80 years or 100 years. Romans were like 100, 110 years. So, yeah, with me it's 100 years because I do it with generations, because I got the idea from Herodotus. Each generation is 33 years, but it's different when it's father to son than it is from like culturally. Controlled. Culturally, it's a little bit smaller time period, and it fluctuates more. If you're gonna do like your typical father to son, you have to make a formula that's independent of like fluctuation, and so you just make it the 33 years. But yeah, so it's usually like 20 to 25 years. I was looking at my timeline, and I have like the Middle Ages, like 500 to 1700, and I didn't have it divided into like early, middle, and late Middle Ages and all that kind of stuff. So I need to tweak that. I need to fix that. Maybe it wasn't developed. I made it spent like more than 10 years ago. It wasn't developed on Wikipedia but I need to make that. So, it would be like Middle Ages and then Dark Ages. And inside of Dark Ages, you put the Saeculae. So, and then inside of that would be the generations. And I'm going to do that for, I kind of haven't decided if I'm going to move back, move forward, or just do patchy. I think I'm going to do patchy and then move back and then forward. Because they already have a lot of Saeculum already. So I'm going to use the ones that are pre-made, like Saeculum Obscurum from the popes in the 900s. And then the secular games. I haven't even looked at the Wikipedia of the article of that yet, but trace it off of that, and events, and yeah. So I want to make the Saeculum and the the different lifespans, and then the generations of Rome, like from the beginning of Rome until present, and then maybe even before that. I just love the concept of understanding history through the concept of generations, and how different generations think differently at different periods of time, and that influences what you think, and it helps you imagine what the world is like, what you're living in, and stuff, and brings to light different famous people, and why they think the way they are, and stuff. So, and why certain like generations have certain characteristics and stuff. So, and just to appreciate the more important generations and marvel over the lesser. So, yeah. So I can like plug in famous people and assign them to generations, and yeah, so it'll be interesting. Like there's a really interesting generation, the final generation of the Republic of Rome, because there's just so many famous people who are like born just within like 20 years of each other. You can just rattle off names of like all the most famous people in history, and like they all knew each other, you know, like Julius Caesar, Mark Antony, Crassus, Pompey, Cleopatra, Vercingetorix, Cicero, Brutus, Agrippina, Octavius, Augustus, like all those people knew each other, you know? It's like, Jesus, they all lived at the same time, so that's an, and then, you know, the generations before and after that, so that'd be fun to plug all that in. So they, and it's something that could end up taking a long time, you know, but I mean, I would welcome taking this thing taking a long time, because the only way it would take a long time is because it's absolutely fascinating, and I keep working on it. So I wouldn't mind at all if this just took all year. I mean, it's fucking interesting. So, but yeah, I mean, I was looking, because the thing that kind of drew me into it was I like looked at the Wikipedia article of Strauss-Howe generational theory, and I read their book, Fourth Turning, and I just couldn't get it out of my mind. I'm like, why the fuck didn't this guy, I mean, isn't he like 75 years old? He's been around forever. He wrote the book like 40 years ago. Like, why the hell hasn't anybody who's read this popular book, out of all the millions of people, like, why the fuck hasn't anybody extended the generations farther back, or done a version of that for the Roman Empire? Like, god damn it. That's interesting as hell. So, because he's talking about like trends and stuff, and things that influence things, and he's talking about the Roman Empire, and it's like, well, then freaking make it for it. You know, he's like, plagues come at the end of periods of prosperity and world expansion, like the Antonine Plague and the Black Death, and it's like, dude, then yeah. So that's, anyway, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm like, fuck it, I'm doing it then. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do now. Yeah, I was just kind of setting it up, getting ready to go with that, because I didn't get up that long ago. But I figured I'd do my video first. So yeah, that's it. I'm changing course. But see, now that I'm working on the website, I can now fix the links on like Google Earth, like throw that in too, you know. So, but I need to fix how it uploads. It's not uploading right now. So I need to get on like text chat with, I don't think I want to do it today, with my server, Glowhost. That's why I went with them, because they have the best customer service support. I find that it's not just with Glowhost, any server that you have, like, if you don't work on your website, if you don't upload your website in like 6 months or a year, like they switch something, and that you can't just figure it out. You have to get on chat, and they have to tell you like, do this code then you can upload it. So once I can upload it, yeah, I can back this stuff up. I was also working on a Julius Caesar book, because I was doing the Google Earth of it and attaching dates. Like I screwed up the dates of like all my books, so I have to replug them in, like in plenty and everything. It sucks. It was like his badge edit that I fucked up a long time ago. Anyway, so yeah, so this is exciting. Like, this is cerebrally stimulating, you know. It's about time. I've been doing Google Earth too much, and my brain has been like fucking up big time. Like yesterday, I had and I have to remember, it's fucking tomorrow. God damn it. I had to wait like 6 months to see my dentist. I'm not even on insurance anymore, and luckily they gave me the new patient discount until I can figure out my insurance again. But I go into there, and they get the X-rays, and they sign me up for a cleaning, for which was yesterday. But and this was like a week out, and every day I'm like, when is it? When is it? And I'm looking at my phone. I couldn't remember when it was. Like, for the life of me, I'm gonna sit around. And then yesterday I was in the car with my mom. I was like, hey, when is this? And it was like, oh fuck, it was today at noon. I missed it. God damn it. So I'm like losing my mind, you know. And so I need to get my brain back. So working on this, so I'm gonna get my brain back. But I called, and luckily I can reschedule until 1 o'clock tomorrow p.m. Fucking gotta remember though, put the alarm clock on tomorrow. Damn it. But luckily, yeah, they're giving me a good price, like cleaning just for, I guess, like $40. So, yeah, so, But I think one reason why maybe I've lost my mind was because I was drinking too much. Like, because my roommate has like whiskey and like beer in there, and I was like, and he doesn't drink it. Like, some people can have stuff laying around, they don't use it. I'm not one of those people. So I kind of had to learn, because it would get like late at night and I wouldn't have weed, and I'd be like, oh, let me drink. So, and then I was buying a lot of alcohol, like more drinking than I've ever done in my life. And I think it finally like got to my brain. Like, if you drink too much, it'll make you retarded. Yeah, and I think I just like burnt too many brain cells, and that's why. And so I was like having like memory problems. So anyways, yeah, it's about time I start working on this. I'm not gonna be able to listen to as many books now. Put that on hold, because I'll be reading Wikipedia articles about the Saeculae and all that kind of stuff, and trying to pay attention and think about stuff. But that's fine. It's more interesting and entertaining. Anyways, been talking long enough. Tomorrow, yeah, I mean, tomorrow, this will be my first full day, so hopefully tomorrow I'll be like, oh, it's so interesting. I built this and I built that. Yeah, man, super interesting, the Saeculae. But it's something that needs to happen, and it's such a good way to learn history. And then, you can get good at that, and that's when you get really interesting and build it into the future, and then you get everybody to do that, and then and then you get everybody in the world to do that, and then we all have world peace, because we all on the same page, right? All right, touch you tomorrow.